let's talk about hard no's from me as a mom and who's also a therapist. Hi, I'm Ranjitha and I'm a licensed therapist. And raised in the South Asian culture, I talk a lot about breaking cycles and what that looks like while raising our next generation. So to kick off this series, let's talk about our first hard no, forced affection. You'll never find me forcing my child to hug or kiss someone if they don't want to. Not for family, not for politeness, and not even for grandparents. Because what might seem like a small thing, a quick hug goodbye, it's actually one of the earliest lessons our kids get about their own body boundaries. And I want our kids to understand and learn that their body is always going to be theirs, and they actually get to consent to what they want to do. So I grew up in a culture where respect was often measured by compliance. A lot of times I did not get to say no. And you don't say no to adults, you don't refuse hugs, and if you hesitate, then you're labeled. You're labeled as being rude, ungrateful, and my personal favorite, too American. There were so many times as a child where I was forced to go hug people that I hardly knew, some distant uncle, and I remember that feeling. My whole body would freeze. I'd feel like I couldn't say no, even sometimes when I did say no, I was made to do it anyway. And that feeling of not wanting to do something and then the minute you say you don't want to do it, being told you're being rude or not polite, that doesn't make you feel good. That makes you feel like you're not in control over what you want, makes you feel like you're not in control over your feelings, and it really minimizes and invalidates what you're going through, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. And the next time that happens, you don't feel comfortable saying no. You do it out of fear of the consequences, and that's not okay. What I learned, like so many first generation kids, was that how I felt really didn't matter. What mattered was how others felt about me and how I was being perceived by society or by family. And that's how people pleasing starts. That's how we learn to override our discomfort and start doing things for someone else. Now, as a therapist, I've actually worked extensively with adults who struggle with boundaries, especially around their bodies and their safety. When we really unpack what that looks like, it so often starts so early on. The stories usually start young, moments where they were told to ignore their instincts, to override their own discomfort. And when a child is told, go give them a hug, even if they're hesitant, then that child learns how I feel isn't as important as being polite. And that script follows them into adolescence, into relationships, into adult life. Now here's the thing, it's actually one of the most foundational ways that we either build up or reduce a child's connection to their own body and boundaries. And when we force that affection, it actually teaches disconnection. A disconnection to their body cues, to their feelings, to their mental state, all of these things. So I want to be really, really clear. This is not about shaming our parents or our grandparents or other family members who are wanting that closeness with our children. Especially in South Asian, Desi, and I'm sure other immigrant families as well, physical affection can equal love. And when a child refuses a hug or a kiss, elders can oftentimes feel hurt. They can feel rejected or even embarrassed. And I get it. But here's the thing, it's our job as that bridge generation to start explaining this. Start to explain that our child saying no doesn't mean that they don't love you. It means that they're learning what love looks like with consent in the picture. And this is actually something to celebrate. And it might not feel like it at first. You might find that resistance from other family members, but the more it's advocated and upheld, it will start feeling easier. Okay, but isn't this rude? Isn't this gonna come off disrespectful in our interactions? No, this does not need to be a rude interaction. And so here's what we do at home. We actually offer options. And I'm gonna give you 3 of my favorite one-liners right now. Would you like to hug, high five, or simply wave hi or bye right now? We all show love in different ways. What feels right to you? You can also smile or wave. What feels comfortable for you right now? This lets our children know that they need to interact in some way and that it still needs to be a respectful interaction. What it does not need to be is a forced physical interaction. Sometimes they'll hug, sometimes they'll say no thank you and wave instead, and every single time we will back her up. If an adult insists, then we step in and then we say, she's just not feeling up for hugs today, but maybe next time. And that's it. And in doing that, we're teaching something far more valuable than obedience. We're teaching that they're allowed to listen to themselves and to their body and their body cues, and it's all important. So while all of this might still seem like such a small thing, a hug, a kiss, a quick goodbye, it's really not small when we zoom out. It's the foundation of body autonomy. It's the beginning of consent. It's a child learning, my body is mine, my voice matters, and I don't owe anyone physical access to feel loved. That's the kind of self-trust that I want our kids to carry. Now, I have 2 girls, but this is important for any child, boy or girl. And that is why forced affection gets a hard no from me. Now, if you're raising kids, especially as a cycle breaker, I would love to know, what's a hard no for you? Drop it in the comments. If you want more of this kind of parenting content, please hit subscribe. I'm gonna be here every week.